Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen, Jacob Licklider here with another Series 11 Sunday. And today we are 6 episodes in, of course, to Doctor Who Series 11, something that I think is amazing that we are. 6 episodes in, we are over halfway through, and of course today it's of course a Sunday, so we've had the airing of Demons of the Punjab, the first episode to be not at least co-written by Chris Chibnall, written by, again, every episode of the series, except the ones written by Chibnall, are for newcomers to the series. This is from Indian British writer Vinay Patel, and, blanket warning, there are going to be spoilers in this review, because I don't think I can talk about this with avoiding them at all. I sometimes try to, but this has been an interesting episode. Well, if last week was probably the weakest episode of Series 11 so far, Demons of the Punjab is the best of Series 11. I'm going to be honest, this episode served as having quite a few gut punches. Really, really big punches to the gut. This is the first episode that is character-focused on Yasmin Khan, something that I have said several times throughout these videos. I wish she would get more character, and I am glad finally that she did. This is sort of her Father's Day moment, the Aztecs moment. Oddly enough, there's a lot of similarities to a Hartnell historical, except this time they intentionally go back. Basically she just wants to see her grandmother be the first woman to be married in Pakistan after the India-Pakistan partition of 1947. And this is a very powerhouse of an episode, because, well, part of it is just getting into the political, climate of the time. You had Hindus and Muslims going at each other's throats. Basically, the Muslims were essentially all kicked out of India, which is weird because, again, on a grander scale, you had people living together for the entire time. And this sort of prejudice is the focal point of the episode. We see all the characters. We get to know Yaz's, ancestors. And people who aren't Yaz's ancestors. Turns out this wasn't Yaz's grandmother's first marriage when, the line that created Yaz. No, she married, she was a Muslim who married a Hindu. She was going to do it because, they were in love. It's a really powerful story, that, ends in her lover dead, killed by his own brother, in a very powerful ending. That ending is sort of the antithesis to the ending of Rosa, where the ending of Rosa felt heavy-handed because they used that song. This time, they just go with Sigourney Akinola's score. And yes, they do sort of play around with the theme of the Doctor Who theme for the credits. But that kind of works. A lot of this episode actually reminded me of the audio drama Doctor Who and the Pirates by Jacqueline Rayner, because part of it, there's a frame story. Both stories deal with people who see someone that they desperately love be lost, and they're not the companions of the Doctor, they're the side characters. Something that I think, and I think that Vinay Patel does really well, is characterize all of the characters. I feel for Yasmin Khan now. Yeah, personality-wise, she's still, maybe not the most developed, but I still sort of now actually feel like I have a handle on who she is as a character. I feel like I know, we know quite a bit about her actual family, and, her past. And this is a very character-defining moment for her. She has, she realizes that her grandmother lost her lover, and, that's a big gut punch. Again, I think it was the right decision to play over the credits, just a sort of a Doctor Who theme sort of inspired by sort of that sort of style of music, that sort of Indian, this sort of Indian, I guess you could call it tribal drums. I don't know if I'm quite saying that right, but that sort of style, and it's very powerful. Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor also gives a powerhouse portrayal here, as like obviously she's starts in just this sort of, okay, there are aliens in the Punjab. What do they want? And it turns out, and she even thinks she knows. She's sort of proven wrong that, wait, these aren't these assassins that I've known them to be. No, they have essentially reformed and made their purpose to, watch over those who die alone. And it's a really interesting idea for an alien. Some people are saying it's similar to Twice Upon a Time, which, I mean, I guess, but I think this episode executes that idea much better than Twice Upon a Time did, mainly because this episode just does it so well. And we find out they're here to get Yasmin's grandmother's husband, watch him, because he's going to die, and his death scene it doesn't pull away from the punches. Yes, it does. It does this thing where it cuts away, because he gets shot by his own brother. Again, a very difficult thing. And his brother is a sympathetic character as well. Like, you don't hate the guy's brother, because he's not a bad person. He's just, sort of, or the whole idea is that ordinary people can be driven to do horrible things. Something it's a very interesting comment on the human condition, and something that I think just the episode succeeds at very, very well. You get to, because we get to know these characters, and we know, how far they're all willing to go, and you have people who try to make this work, and it's really well written. As you see the world, just sort of fall down around all these different characters. The direction, I think the doctor's speech, the doctor gets quite a few moments. You have this moment, the moment when she realizes that what the aliens actually want is probably the defining moment of her doctor. This is when Whittaker, because this is the second episode that they filmed, this is the moment when Jodie Whittaker sort of falls into the role, and, you can see that she is the doctor. She, and from this on, she's great. Like, she officiates the wedding, which is really good, and it's this really tense scene, because everyone is happy, but at this point, Graham, Ryan, Yaz, and the doctor all know that someone's about to die, that this isn't going to end well, and it doesn't. It ends very, very sadly, and it's a very much, the character gets sacrificed, and it's really well written, and just really well performed by all the actors involved. They take it in their stride. They give themselves enough time to, we get enough time to understand these characters. I also would have to say that the designs of the aliens are really, really good. I believe they're taken from inspiration from mythical creatures of, I believe, potentially Hindu or Muslim mythology. At least that's what I think. That's what I think. Just because they look demonic, but not in a very Christian, Hieronymus Bosch demonic way, but they sort of look in a more mythological way in certain areas, if that makes any sense. Like, they have multiple eyes, and they look a little cat-like in ways, a little bit, which, I mean, I might be totally off of this. They're a really good design. And honestly, the fact that they aren't there to intrude, yet they're still very memorable, I think is just a talent to the good writing on display here. Is that, they have such a good design, even though they, aren't actually, the ones to do, they aren't there to be villains. They are there, just sort of to be side characters. And honestly enough, you can't cut it out with them, but this is probably as close to a pure historical that the revived series of Doctor Who has ever gotten. And I think that's amazing. Like, I'd love to see a completely pure historical, don't get me wrong, because it shows that Doctor Who this episode, and Rosa to an extent, but more of this episode, shows it can be a force to tell a really good story, educate viewers on a historical period and situation very well, and, give us some good character drama, all in a 50-minute episode, something that has been a bit difficult for the show to do recently, at least in my opinion, just because it's one of those things that the show has, had 45-minute syndrome. No, but I think this episode is great. The Watch, as sort of this framing device, is, when it gets revealed what the Watch means, everything just sort of clicks into place. that the watch was a gift, because the idea, like, was both parties were bringing something of their spouse's religion to their wedding, which I think is, really, really good. It sort of shows it's a good way of showing their commitment to each other, that, like, no, we aren't going to be torn apart because we may disagree on religion. We love each other. Also, the reasoning why Yaz lives in Sheffield is really good, and really nice. They're all really, really well executed ideas done here. The direction is great, and honestly, I think, as usual, standout is Bradley Walsh, and Tosin Cole. Like, everyone brings so much to the table. Bradley Walsh in particular. Like, there's this point, because he knows what it's like to lose a loved one. So when he sees Yaznan's future husband as, like, you are, like, I'm sorry for you, and it's this powerhouse performance, and everything is just really well done. Demons of the Punjab is the best episode of Series 11 so far. Like, next episode is going to be interesting because it's probably going to be lighter, but this one, it's drama, it's hard hitting, it creates characters. It's probably the one episode this season so far that I would give a perfect 10 out of 10. And honestly, if you haven't watched it, hopefully this doesn't ruin it for you. Watch it now. You really should be giving yourself that chance.